Okay, you guys, and welcome to your morning cup. We started off with this. The Indian Navy has designed an oxygen recycling system. What we understand is that an oxygen recycling system is a concept that has been originally put forth by the Indian Navy, and this is the terms at which it so-called works. Designed to extend the life of existing medical oxygen cylinders by 2 to 4 times. You see, a very minimal amount of oxygen is inhaled by the patient, and the rest of the oxygen is just extruded out of the body with the carbon dioxide. This process turns to change that. The man behind the design, an incredible design put forth by Lieutenant Commander Mayank Sharma. He is a part of the diving school of the Indian Navy. His design has officially been patented under an application patent form filed on May the 13th, and the first official prototype, well, it has already been produced as of April the 22nd. 2021. What is the idea behind the innovation itself? Well, the exhaled O2 can be reused. That is the bottom line. You see, to achieve this, the oxygen recycling system adds on a second pipe to the patient's existing oxygen mask, which sucks out the air exhaled by a patient using a low pressure motor, thereby completely revitalizing the system in all its entirety. A team of engineers used a self-pressurizing liquid oxygen cylinder of 250 liters capacity, the regular ones that you come across, especially during this oxygen shortage, the ones that we have observed being prevalent across the spectrum. This process is through a specially designed vaporizer and is directly usable outlet with leak-proof pipelines and pressure valves. So this is by all means put forth by a defense team, the Indian Navy. Very unlikely candidate to put forth a solution to oxygen shortages, but considering the fact that they dive all the time, this is something that is remarkable to witness. Overall cost of the ORS prototype has been capped at around 10,000 bucks. You're saving 3 grand per day when it comes to the bigger scheme of things. So in a nutshell, it is saving lives, and especially for the parts of the community that aren't running abundant with money to spend on treatment, this is a ray of hope to everyone. There are several other applications when it comes to this system. The ORS can also be used to extend the life of oxygen cylinders used by mountaineering soldiers and an HADR operation on board naval ships and submarines, as we spoke about earlier. We also understand the fact that NASA's first mobile robot to the moon is going to look for what? You see, NASA is planning on sending its first mobile robot to the moon in the year 2023 in search of ice and other resources, so-called. The rover, called Viper, will explore lunar craters using a specialized set of wheels and suspension systems, cover a variety of inclines and declines and slope types and soil types, and is going to carry 4 primary instruments, including the mass spectrometer observing lunar operations, called the M-Solo instrument. So all high-tech stuff going to the moon, find water. And if considering the moon was once a part of the earth, it is not super unlikely that you might actually come across some water. China becomes the second nation to land and operate rover on Mars. China's Zhurong rover has finally left its landing platform and is officially made China the second country in the world to officially land a rover on Mars. You see, China landed the rover on May the 15th. The Zhurong mission is intended to last for around 3 months, during which it will search for the evidence of ancient life on the red planet. That is what we want, people. That is what we're looking forward to. Aliens. And who's going to tell us about it? The Chinese will. An artist creates an epic illusion of cliffs below the Eiffel Tower, and the world went mad. You see, an illustration by an artist who uses the pseudonym JR has created an optical illusion right in front of the Eiffel Tower, and the Eiffel Tower is perched right behind it in a perfect symphony that shows the artwork involved layering an image of a ravine and the pillars that form the base of the Eiffel Tower into the floor. So essentially what you're looking at is an optical illusion. Such paintings exist across the spectrum, mostly in social gatherings in the States and such, and this is all but forced perspective. If you force perspective good enough and you execute it flawlessly enough, this is what it looks like. So kudos to the artist JR. When one terrorist organization goes to war against another terrorist organization and the other terrorist organization kills the head of the first terrorist organization, and there's actually a $7 million worth of bounty on that guy's head, who gets paid, and do they get paid? Well, it turns out the answer is no. The US has officially denied giving the bounty that was on the head of a Boko Haram leader because he was killed. Islamic State fighters. So Do you give Islamic State $7 million? No, you don't. And that was made very clear when a statement was put out dictating that, hey, Islamic State guys, to clarify, no, you aren't eligible for the reward. They should have added a little quote of thanks for your efforts, but we're coming for you next kind of thing. But Amazon shuts construction at a US site after 7 nooses were found. Hate crimes after hate crimes in the United States, and things just keep getting worse. We've seen a lot of hate crimes arising in Amazon facilities for a long time, and we didn't talk about it because it was a little under the radar when it came to its authenticity. But this one is legit. 7 nooses were found in one single warehouse construction site. We understand that $100,000 reward was put out by Amazon for anyone who could come out with more information about what had happened. But the first noose appeared on April the 27th, which was hanging from a steel beam of the building. Amazon has now officially stopped the construction after the 7th noose was found on this Wednesday. So what we're looking at is just like disgusting hate crime left, right and center and nothing else. And the people who are involved in this activity, I have no idea what you believe the world might surmount to if people just live in harmony. The 2020 Olympics, well, big debacle with this one. Well, turns out the Tokyo Olympics will go ahead this year instead of the state of emergency that has been issued during the COVID protocols. IOC Vice President John Coates said on Friday that all the plans we have in place to protect the safety and security of the athletes and the people of Japan are based on the worst possible circumstances. I don't understand if he believes that he can pull off what the world couldn't pull off. I don't believe if this is ethical. There have been a lot of athletes and nations that are talking about boycotting things, and then there are those that believe that this is an opportunity to make sure that you can go and revitalize the people's spirits by bringing their nations and representing them forward in a proper Olympic fashion, garnering that the digital output of this Olympic Games might be the biggest that the games have ever seen, given that in person, well, attendance is going to be next to nothing, but live telecasts and OTT platform telecasts of the Olympics can procure a good amount of money. We understand the fact that Air India has reported a massive data breach. Upwards of 45 lakh flyers' passports, credit card details have been compromised. A massive hack, and I cannot tell you how massive this hack is, but 45 lakh people's data has been breached, including names, including contact information, including passport information, including credit card data, including your CVVs. So if you ever bought a ticket from the Air India website and you saved your card, or if you saved any detail onto the Air India website, or if you're a frequent flyer with Air India, all of your information has officially been leaked, and Air India couldn't do anything about it because they were compromised in terms of their cybersecurity. Baba Ramdev, now he made a statement in the highlight of the media dictating that he was criticizing science and saying that science doesn't work when it comes to the coronavirus. Well, it turns out that after the IMA sought action against Baba Ramdev for saying that the people died due to allopathic medicines, Patanjali Yogpeeth Trust said Ramdev had utmost regards for doctors. And at the event during which these remarks were made, wherein he, well, laid waste to the claims of the medical science community, it said that Ramdev was just reading out a forwarded WhatsApp message that was received to him. It said Ramdev has no ill will against modern sciences. I don't understand the pretext of this situation, but if this is his explanation to sounding anti-science, I don't understand what might be the pretense of his argument in the future. We move on to this, the final story of the day. The Dalai Lama's successor has to be approved by China, and this is just stupid considering that China has officially denounced this Dalai Lama, saying that this Dalai Lama is not even the real Dalai Lama and this Dalai Lama is in question, and that is exactly why he is in exile and not living in Tibet but instead living in India, because if he goes to Tibet they'll most probably try to assassinate him. It's just a whole weird story, and what you understand the fact that any live reincarnation of the Dalai Lama is supposed to be well put forth by the Chinese government, and that goes all the way back to the King dynasty, which makes sense because it was a thing that was way back there, incorporation of China and its culture as a whole. Tibet was also part of China, but things change, people change, domains change, nations change, heritages don't. So I don't understand that. How can China be so blatantly disregarding the fact that this Dalai Lama exists? They tried to put forth their own Dalai Lama a few years ago, but no one bought it, so they just backed off out of it. But this fact still remains that they did try it.